What's going on, everyone? This is episode 3 of the Sesh. We got our boy PJ, Ravin, Tuck, me, Dylan, and I guess we're going to get straight into it. So, lots happened in this week in terms of music. Let's...
Yeah,
not giving me a lot to work with, huh?
Fuck me, dude.
Man, Husky's free. I wanted to say that.
Shit, bro. HP Boys and 1-4 now touring.
They're touring now?
Yeah. I think they're going to go be doing shows and shit in Australia. So, that's pretty big.
Don't know why I say that.
Big news. Also, fucking chillinit, freestyling with...
Charlie Sloth.
Yeah.
That bloke.
Fire in the booth. Let's do that. Yeah, so chillinit, he went over to UK and he did a freestyle on... Well, he did Fire in the Booth. And for those who don't know, Fire in the Booth is like... To me, I feel like it's the pinnacle of... Yeah, it's like the pinnacle of where you want to... Like a platform that Charlie Sloth provides. Right? And it's almost like... What's that other dude's name? Tim Westwood?
Yeah.
He's like the Tim Westwood now, like the modern day Tim Westwood. And chillinit went on there, like, you know, storming up Australia and shit, and he ripped that shit hard. He ripped it hard. I don't think UK really understood the lingo for the most part, but I did. I think.
Bro, he went for like on a holiday and fucking ended up doing music there.
Good on him, man. Chillinit is doing well.
Do we think that was like the perfect dude to represent Australia?
At the moment.
Yeah, at the moment.
I'd rather him than 1-4.
Like, yeah, you think about like, okay, so we had to choose like a representative to go overseas, whether it's, you know, Charlie Sloth or Sway, and they had to freestyle. And this guy was going to be like everyone's kind of intro into like the Aussie hip hop scene.
Well, he smashed it.
He smashed it.
He well, if he was going there to represent Australia, he ripped it well.
Yeah. And you say like he hit it out of the park.
I mean, I enjoyed it, but the only thing for me is that, I mean, you know how like rappers, when they go into things like this, like Fire in the Booth and shit like that, they'll start rapping their bars like that they've already done. At that point, that's where I sort of stopped listening because I just okay.
Was he doing that?
But I don't know. Like sure the first like there was a first set of bars there that were I never really heard.
Yeah.
That's when I was listening. But then I heard I think he was rapping the same Rapping Freedom.
Yeah.
I think he was rapping
like
the
the
same.
second set, like he kind of recycled a couple of bars.
And then as soon as I heard that, I just kind of really just. I listened to the rest of it, but I was like,
draws your way.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I've heard that before.
But then I mean, like, bro, if you're gonna go, it's like, bro, if you're gonna like go for
good.
like 7 minutes or 10 minutes, bro.
Oh yeah, hard.
You're gonna definitely dig into your bags.
That's just ridiculous, bro. Like 7-10 minutes, bro.
This can't Charlie Sloth, bro. He'll stand there like you know, you do a whole fucking minute and a half, and you stand there like
you'll
come on, bro. Let's do it again, bro.
You'll give this bloke you'll give him 64 bars.
Yeah.
And as soon as he's done, come on, bro, let's go again, bro.
like a coach telling you.
Yeah, so no, I mean,
then this kind of has to like pull out bars from his album and shit.
But no, chillinit.
Yeah, no, I thought
good on you, mate.
Yeah.
Fucking hard yakka cunt.
But who would you like to see? Like, who do you reckon? Like, if it wasn't gonna be chillinit, who would you have nominated as like?
If he can keep his life together, bro, I'd pick chillinit. So I'd pick Husky, bro. Like, if he can keep his life together, like, I'd like to see Husky where chillinit is, but it is what it is.
You know who actually I would put in contention with there? Nerve.
Oh yeah, hard.
Wow.
I listened to Nerve, bro.
Yeah, bro, I listened to his like new track as well.
Yeah,
good.
He's really good, bro. Yeah, he's really good, bro. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Nerve, you get the cosign, bro.
Yeah, so I think when you ask who would you have picked, he was in that. He would have been in the running, bro. He would have been in the running.
Fucking killing it, like real bad, like low key killing it. No one's, I think people I know, but they don't really know. Kid Leroy. Kid Leroy.
Bro, I only know Blessings. Has he been putting out?
He dropped a song called Winning,
he puts out songs and stuff. But he's affiliated with some real heavy hitters in the game, like
he's working, bro.
So you see how like Meek Mill we signed to Ross, and Meek Mill was like like label mates with Wale and it's just them two mainly.
Yeah,
like, you know how label mates
Wale
like Drake, Nicki.
Meek Mill, yeah.
The Kid Leroy is label mates with fucking Juice WRLD.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
bro, he's deep.
They fucking hang out and shit, and I just thought that was really fucking weird that a kid from Waterloo was doing that. I felt really like, fucking no.
He's deep, bro.
Why aren't we pushing this kid like more?
He's already getting pushed. It's done. Like he's
fine. He's gone, bro.
He's gone.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the reason like you don't know about it is for me personally, I'm not a fan of the music, the style. I don't listen to Kid Laroi.
Yeah.
But I mean, I recognize what's going on. Fuck, he's making big moves, bro.
Yeah, he is
making big moves. He's in the mix with a lot of big names, and fuck, he's doing really well, bro. You know what I mean?
He is.
And fuck, yeah, good on him, bro.
Well,
What a blue.
He's young, man. He looks like Justin Bieber sometimes, actually.
Yeah.
Like when you hear it, for me, it's like, well, I don't know if anyone else would agree, but it's that real like sort of, if you were to compare it, it's like that real SoundCloud rappy type of vibe. You know what I mean? So, yeah,
it is exactly like that actually. He has the whole like singing melody thing.
Right. Yeah. So.
But I think he doesn't need to worry about like. Alright, so going forward with this kid, I think like because he sings, he doesn't need to worry about that whole fucking like shit that happened to Iggy Azalea.
Nah.
Where like everyone questioned like her realness and shit.
100%.
Yeah.
Iggy Azalea.
Realness, guys. Realness, brother.
You know what do we think of Iggy? Like she's from Australia. She's from where? She's from Wollongabimbi or
She's
somewhere.
from Wollongabimbi. I know a bloke from Wollongabimbi.
And like she's come out. She went to America. What do you reckon? Like, do you think like nah?
Right,
Nah, she had a shot. That's all I guess.
Like you reckon?
I heard a double XL, bro. Mate, I was so embarrassed.
She was on what on double XL?
Yeah, she was on double XL.
Yeah, bro, she's a freshman.
Was she on double XL?
Yeah, she's a freshman, bro. She's a double XL freshman.
What year was that?
2013? No, 13, I think.
13.
13.
Oh,
But bro, I was so embarrassed because
What?
and
I know how bad it was, bro. Cause
The only thing I don't
Skip
like
it at
about
that,
Iggy,
bro.
the
It was
only thing about Iggy I don't like is that she's legit Aussie.
right,
She's Aussie as accent.
right.
And then she puts this Atlanta accent on top of it.
Portrays the whole.
And
Yeah.
then I can like I understand that because like I'm Aussie and when I started rapping I was rapping with a heavy American accent and I was pushing it a bit too much sometimes.
Yeah.
So I stopped doing that. So like when I hear her, I'm like, I know what you're doing with your tongue there, like you're fucking really overdoing the American accent, and that's just what it was. It was really like contrived.
Yeah, I just find it strange. I mean, I'd imagine she sounds Aussie. I'd imagine she
Yeah,
sounds
she
real
does.
Aussie, but then when I think about it, you go into a studio and you completely change your character. I don't know, bro.
Wait, but alright.
But
But
your jeans.
but do you think like, bro? Do you think if it was because she looked like a real white Aussie? Do you think it was just like a brown Aussie or someone like a person of
I don't think that
different
would matter.
ethnicity? Do you reckon that they would have got called out as hard as she did?
Nah. What?
Wait.
What's the question?
Okay, so the question I'm saying is right because if you look at her, she's like this blonde fucking Aussie chick, right? Straight from the country, and like everyone knew she talks with an Australian accent, and then she raps with an American one.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, like if you swapped her with say like maybe like an islander or like a brown person that was from like Australia, would they get called out as hard as she did?
They would not get the same flack that Iggy gets, only because hip hop is black. Hip hop is black.
True.
And some people it's hard to accept the fact that this white lady is doing it better than half these African Americans that are in the country that are looking at her like, what the fuck, man? I've been hustling for this long and I can't. And she's like using my accent, and she doesn't even talk. Like she can't even pull the accent off. And she's like,
not even from here.
Doesn't even go here.
Right. So I think but if they put like some other dude there, like if they put Hefs there and Hefs was like doing that, they would have got the same flag. If Hefs had Iggy's position, I think Hefs would do really well.
Wow, straight
You reckon?
Yeah.
I think so.
Straight out.
You reckon? Wait. But I mean, like, sorry, I'm still thinking under the terms of if they went over and used that American accent type of thing.
Oh, the accent thing.
Because that's essentially what it is. So let's say if Iggy Azalea wasn't white, she was a brown or skin or whatever, she was an islander, but she went over to America and started rapping with all this American shit, with the lingo and the terms and all that. Would you still think that she'd get the same amount of shit? I personally think she would.
Yeah, she would.
I think so too.
I think you still get the same sort of shit. So,
What Aussie rap? Like, you know who would have really survived that? Melbourne. Melbourne would have really survived that.
Yeah. Actually,
He would have
I
walked
agree.
up there talking like an American.
Really survived that.
Yeah.
You couldn't even survive it here.
We're not pulling their punches here. I agree. I think he would have. I don't think he would have been a superstar, but he would have. I don't think he would have been a superstar, but I think he. Yeah, I think.
What'd you compare that to? He would have been like West of 5'9".
Alrighty.
Fuck, not Royce the 5'9", bro.
Mad respected, but like sort of everyone overlooks him. You're not playing your songs in the car. No. What else? That's interesting. That's an interesting like concept though. Like that's an interesting thing though of what Aussie artists would go over to America and just really hold it down.
Because like the only person I'm thinking of is like is it TK Mata? Like
Oh yeah.
but like even then, but she's African, bro. Like I think like her and like fucking Manu Crooks as well. Like
You think they get a pass?
they get past like they're from Aussie and they kind of rap like with American style, but looking at it, like these guys weren't like born here. I'm pretty sure they were born like they're born in like
overseas.
Overseas, and then they just managed to like move here and like lived here for the couple of years and shit.
It's funny you say that. I actually know TK.
Yeah, didn't you do a song together at one stage?
The girl.
Yeah, she after what happened was we made a song and I was supposed to drop it and her name was supposed to be on it and I was supposed to be out of here. And her label told her like, nah, you can't work with him. Like the label, it was a label thing. And then she personally reached out and said, I'm sorry, like I can't do this. I really like you. I really like the song, but it's a label. I can't do it.
What was the song?
Pure Mind.
Oh yeah, that would have been mad.
Yeah.
But she fucking got she won a BET award.
What?
She won a BET
No.
award. She won a BET award. She's from.
Because what label she signed to?
Like Purple Adelaide, like
something like that, bro. Yeah.
Wow.
Who she signed? Nah, but she does the same sort of shit. Like you know, how Hef does that party shit. TK does that party shit, but a bit more hip hop. Like she does that real hip hop shit, but like she has a little blend of like house.
And bro, and she's like making waves
She's
overseas,
doing
man. Like
she's doing well. She's doing well.
shout out to TK.
Yeah, hard. Who else is out there like that? I don't know anyone else. I don't really know anyone else out there doing making moves like that. TK
Go international with it.
TK. Yeah. Then arrest that kind of the fucking airport, bro.
On site, just
As
see.
soon as they ask him, like, bro, what the fuck is this? He'd like be calling reverse racism or some shit like that.
Bro, not even that, bro. Are you honestly, tell me this: if you were working at airport security and like in some overseas country, and this Aussie dude comes up with tats all over his
looking
face,
like that, bro.
you're gonna let him into the country?
What happened is, first of all, he'd walk through and I'd be like, oh, he looks suspicious. Let me go talk to him. And as soon as I spoke to him, and I hear the first thing that come out of his mouth, just that, I just know what he's like. Me, if I was me knowing what he was going to say, and he spoke, I was like, bro, you're not going through here, bro.
You're not going anywhere.
I'm going to go into that room over there. I want to close the door.
Better turn around and get yourself.
Imagine being the person having to make that choice. Saying, like, how do you pick someone like, here's this bloke with face tattoos, I'm going to go CVS drugs. Or you show me your bag. Why you touch me? Because I fucking can. Now open the bag.
And he's like, oh, you're a dog.
Yeah. Open the fucking bag, you mutt.
That is all, man. I think like when Americans insult each other, if like that situation, like if they went to customs and they passed through and Americans got caught, they do the whole like, oh, because I'm black, and they just say this isn't right. If Aussies did that, we would go absolutely mental.
You fucking dog.
You fucking racist dog.
I thought I was in Australia.
Bro, 100% would believe like if we were to go off at like TSA or something, like we would give them a run for their money. Like, they would be scared.
Yeah, we would, bro.
Like they would have to call like the whole like fucking police to hold you down and shit.
100%, bro.
What do you mean it's random? Got TN hat on, all these full geared up.
Bro,
what do you mean it's random?
I think I spoke about that before. There was like the video of that guy. It was police. They were getting filmed in Liverpool at Liverpool Mall.
Oh yeah, you've talked about it before.
They're in like the entrance. They have the entrance. All these cops are standing at the entrance and they're waiting for everyone to walk through, so that until they find a character that they or the profile that fit the profile that they're looking for. And all these folks are walking in. And then this Lebo walks through, and he's decked out, got the Gucci on, Louis V and all that. He's got the shades on, Versace shades. I think it was Versace shades. It looks like that. It looked like that. And the cop pulls him over, and there's like 4 of them. And then one of them is talking to the Lebo guy, and then 3 of them are just like watching. And then like the Lebo obviously naturally he's like, cause why me? Like like the whole like out of all these people you picking me? Why? And then the cop was like, and then one of them just got mad, fed up with that whole fucking speech of like why me. He comes up and is like, mate, look at you. Look at yourself. Mate, look at you. Mate, come on. Of course I'm gonna ask you. Wow. And at that point I realized, bro, it's true. Like, it's fucking common sense to me. If you're fucking from Riverwood in the housing commission and you're driving around in the fucking Merc, Cause I'm gonna ask you, he got the money.
You're driving around the housing commission.
You gotta prove to me how you got this work. Like, you're telling me you're a labourer?
What job do you like?
Like,
You know what I mean?
what, you're a painter? Cause where did you get this Mercedes Benz from?
Not even that. I'm like reporting you to settle it.
That's definitely selling like on
Oh my god.
bro. Those shapes. I wasn't just ripping though. It was just like just in general. Like these blokes are from Mad Housing Commission and they're driving around in this, and they get pulled over, and the cops like like they have reason to believe. What reason? What? It's like, brother, you're fucking driving in the reason, bro. Like,
Bro, but not even that. That always like does my head in, bro. You're gonna drive in like a BMW, but live in like a shitty housing area. Why not live in a good area?
You're being too loud, B.
yeah, bro.
You're being too loud.
Everyone gotta eat, B. Everyone gotta eat.
Everybody needs B. What you mean you ain't eating?
They fucking took his shoes. Didn't they?
They took his chain as well, and then he gives it on. He's like, "Yo, we good? Oh yeah, we good. Look, we all shining. We all shining."
That movie, bro. Yeah.
Oh fuck it, bro. Cameron killed it, man. Rico's the best
What's it
character.
called?
Paid in full.
Paid in
Yo,
full.
Rico
you gotta
the
watch
best.
that shit. You gotta watch that shit.
Rick,
You gotta watch
Rick,
that
Rico
shit.
is one of the best villains. I love it. That's why I'm Rico, man. That's why I do what I do. What's the point in having soldiers if you can't use them?
Sit in the club and he's full pointing at the screen. That's you fucking bitch. That's you. And then he's like,
He's got a champagne in his head. He's got a big maroon bathrobe on him, bro.
I always love that. He pulls out like the two pistols.
And you got Ace telling him to keep gotta be quiet, man. You're being too loud, man. Being out here in public, man. He goes out to the front with his big bathrobe on a Merc, points two pistols in the air.
I always wondered, why don't we ever look at that shit, bro? We don't fucking, like real gangsters that make that money, they don't fucking look at the examples that these Americans are obviously fucking setting for us, bro. Don't fucking be loud, bro.
Don't be loud, bro.
Fucking be dead, bro. There's nothing wrong with getting a Lancer, bro.
I think that's it, bro.
Get a chat Lancer or something.
Because like, bro, everyone needs to like they need to like prove themselves. Like, I think that's it. It's like the status, the visual
Yeah,
of it.
exactly.
Yeah.
The like seeing a dude in a Ferrari is like, okay, this
But
guy's
the practicality of it, though.
Yeah.
Bro,
How good is a
100%.
Porsche if you're
Even the
so?
practicality for fucking Ace, bro. He ends up, fuck, they forget him in his house.
Yeah.
What's the number to your safe? They shoot the cut in the head, kill his family, and they take his money.
Oh, but then Rico pulls up with the
Oh, bro. I got
Oh. Yeah, bro. There's nothing wrong with driving a fucking like sedan, bro.
Yeah,
you.
that's,
At all,
The whole point of a car is just to get you from point A to point
that's
B.
it. That's exactly
It's
it.
control style, bro.
Nah, brother.
But I say, like, well, now that we're on there, bro, what are the differences between, like, the way our, like, I don't even know, I do know, but, like, there is a way that the Aussies flex with their drug deal, when they're drug dealers. There's a way they flex, and there's a way that Americans flex, and I think, in a way, it's sort of similar.
Well, the first thing you get as Aussie is you get the gold chain,
There's always been a little change.
you get the earrings.
I think, no, you know what? I think Aussies overdo it a bit.
Yeah.
Bro, I was like, Lebos, they're funny, bro. When the way they flex with their money is they full pay for you, bro. They full pay for you. I was at the tobacconist buying, I bought a drink and I thought it was like this much and it ended up being this much. I was like, oh fuck, I'm a bit short. And the bloke pulls out $5 and he's like, oh here, yalla here. And he buys his own thing. I'm like, guys, chew. I go back, think about it, I was like, bro, this bloke full paid for me, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I thought
I should've got more.
Yeah. When you told me that, I was just like, nah, it wasn't really about him paying for you. It was more about hurry the fuck up.
Guys, I'm getting my
But
dollars,
see,
bro.
but he was willing to pull his stack. He wasn't just $5. I know he had stacks.
Brother, he had stacks, guys. Brother, he had stacks. He had thick 50s, bro. Thick 50s.
Wow, that's like that's like Robin Hood shit. Like Robin Hood.
Listen, in this day and age, if you carry stacks that big, why are you carrying stacks that big, bro? Nothing is digital these days.
Once again, I think it's back to it's the visual being able to show.
I say that, but I say that visual thing, the image thing is just, it's true because like even because that whole thing of like drug deals and shit, that it's inevitably involved in hip hop, especially in Australia, bro. Like if you're a drug dealer, we all they glamorize that shit like it's the thing, and it's I guess it is cool. Like you can't like if you're a rapper and you're a drug dealer or you're a drug dealer, your stripes just paint themselves. You know what I mean? If you like big crime into jail, your stripes they paint themselves. I think it's almost at a point where I think chillinit's like I don't know. Do you know if he pushed on anything?
I don't know, bro.
I just know that Robert's weird because
incriminate the
I mean, I think if fuck.
I think
I can't remember what I've heard. I can't remember if it was like through a video that he was talking on or something. But he said that he made a post and he was like, I got to kick back on the partying life. The partying life's caught up with me and that. So I think they might have been in Thailand because he was like, the Thai drug laws are very scary. I got to pull up and this and that. So I think it's like he might have had a run in.
Who was that?
Some partying.
Recently?
Yeah, recently.
Yeah, apparently he had to fucking sign papers to get his passport back.
But I don't know if it was a push or not. But what do you mean? What do you mean stripes paint themselves in drug dealer?
No, I mean like
that's it. Like if you're a rapper, like if you're a drug dealer, bro, and you're like you automatically get that street cred. Like
it's
you
just
really have it behind you.
Yeah, bro.
What do you mean? Wait, I'm still confused.
I gotta say,
Husky gets his stripes from that same situation. Except the only reason why he appeals so much is because he's an extremely fucking talented lyricist.
Oh yeah, no, I agree that drug dealers have their stripes in that, but I don't think if you become a drug dealer, you got that stripe.
Oh no,
you know what I mean? Like,
no. I mean if you're a drug dealer and you get your stripes in drug dealing, well, you don't really have to. I don't know where the line is with when you get your stripes, but I feel like if you do it and then you make your little transition into hip hop and then you rap about that life.
Yeah. That's it. You have something to rap about.
Yeah.
And everyone looks at you like, yeah, fuck this cunt's a gangster cunt. And it's just like, true, right? You. Like,
I got
like
you.
that.
I got you. Yeah.
What's another thing that we?
Cause straight up, 20 audition need to drop some hate, bro. I've been hearing snippets, but like.
Yeah, they make me
I need full songs, bro. That J-Lux snippet, cause that was heavy, bro.
They were putting photos up. I think it was on the story. They've been putting photos up of them in the studio. All four of them.
I saw that.
So that's a good sign.
See, that's the thing I don't like is that like, all right, you remember you just drop a track, but now everyone needs to make a music video to come.
So it's all accommodate all company.
I'm just like, bro, just drop the track, give us that file, and then like put out the music video.
100%
straight up.
I understand that part.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think there's so like 20 years ago, it was a very different industry. I think where it's just different. Back then, it was like you have an album, you have the album, and then you couldn't drop. Like if you were in a label, the label wouldn't let you drop the album unless you found a single. For example, fucking J. Cole had a whole album. It wouldn't, and Jay-Z wouldn't let J. Cole drop the album unless he had a single, like for radio. And the single was Workout. After he dropped Workout came out and it blew. Once Workout came out and it blew, he dropped fucking Sideline Story. So like I think it's just that whole like system of how they drop music, but like so I think we just have a different attention span.
It's like a science, isn't it?
We have a different attention. We have a different attention span, bro. Like I am not patient enough to listen to 3 verses in a song, man.
No, hey,
I just can't do it.
Me neither, bro. I can't. I've run out of patience.
Like 1-4 was like the last. Like 1-4 was the dudes that really just I'll
5 minutes.
I'll keep listening. I'll keep listening.
Like 4 5-minute songs, I can't do them.
You know, 74. They have like 5-minute songs because you listen to like the intro and that's it.
You know what I think? You know what I like? Nah, see, we'll speak of 74. Is it 74?
74.
So wait,
74.
is it a music crew or is it actual like
apparently
a gang or crew, so to speak?
Apparently they're drillers.
Bro, I'm pretty sure one of them's a fucking Mortal Kombat character.
Because
these guys got a copper job before they want to be drillers, man. These guys are like what, 16, 17?
I saw their interview on that, and they were at the train station in the train gates and that. The ticket gates.
Yeah, that was funny.
And I thought, fuck, they're young, hey. They're
hanging out at train stations.
This bloke was saying they all had an interview. And it must have been like near a sewer or something, you know what I mean? Like, and they purposely would have chose that, and then they probably would have thought they had people thinking, oh, fuck, look at that behind the sewer, it's rough. But us, we were just like, we're what? It's a sewer. We're what?
That's dirty, bro.
On you, cunt.
It was funny in the video. They feel like staunching like one security guard, some cop, just one bloke, and they're all standing on the stairway, and just like. Staunching
yeah, there's a little shot of that. Yeah. And then he's full like talking up to him and that.
It's like 17 boys staunching one cop, bro.
And they're like, oh nah.
But I don't know.
Sense,
bro, the only good thing I can say about it is that like, bro, you look at that crew, bro. It's like the most like multicultural.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro, because I say, you know what's funny about that, bro? Like, I tend to do this. I don't mean to do it, bro. But like when I see rappers come out, I always like, what is he? And if it's like Indian, I'd be like. So I'm Indian, bro. But like, I blow my. It's just natural, bro. It's one of the things. Like, if I find out you're like Aussies, it's too late. Like, I used to look at them like pansies. Now, like, Oh yeah, you guys are real.
MK.
But if I saw some Pakistani dudes Pakistani, I'd be like, bro, like, come on, take that.
Yeah, bro, it's like the most like multicultural fucking rap group. One's like a Syrian, one's like fucking
Pakistani.
Islander, yeah, one's Pakistani.
I'm just look,
Mate,
This is what happens when like
It's really funny because sometimes you'll have some people who come from like really out of their places, like for example, like Pakistan or like from El Salvador,
Yeah,
and they'll come to Australia and they'll become fully staunch. You know, like they would have grown up here,
100%.
and they'll turn fully staunch, but. It's just really funny just seeing like a staunch Sri Lankan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't come across that often, and when you do, it's an experience. You know what I mean?
That doesn't sound intimidating.
Yeah, because exactly, bro, exactly. But yet when you see one, you just can't help but think, "Fuck."
it's like seeing like a fucking
Yeah.
red Pokemon or something. Like, oh, fuck.
Like I usually see at 7-Eleven then. Fuck, you're supposed to be at 7-Eleven now. Like the train station.
Fuck, yeah.
He hit the weights, bro. He hit the bars. He got enough of all the shit. Senjit had enough of all the bullshit.
74, man. I saw the image before I heard the music, and when I saw the image, I was like, it was just too like 1-4, bro. Like
Straight up.
74,
Yeah.
1-4. It was just too easy to pick it.
It was,
And then
yeah.
I saw I heard the music. Then I heard the music, and I was like, bro, every single fucking bar sounds like you listen to every 1-4 song, and you sort of just remixed every bar. And I was
I'm sorry, yeah. Like, I'm sorry, bro, but it wasn't a natural reaction. It wasn't just a natural reaction. Like I just saw the 1-4 photo, and I thought, what is this 1-4? You know, it was just natural because like the pose, the way the bellied up thing, the like everything about it.
Guys.
It was just natural. I was thinking, fuck, like look at these cunts, and then like I just thought, okay, well, I'll give these cunts a chance. Looked up the actual page, there's more propaganda, and I'm thinking, this is crazy.
They beat for like 76.
Yeah. And then I listened to the music. I thought, well, whatever.
Yeah.
It's your first song. Let me hear another.
give them a chance.
It's easy. Yeah, it's easier to. Like, I understand why people are like, oh, look at these cunts. This now, I understand, but I want to like. We don't even know them. You know, like what if? So I want to hear. Yeah,
But not even that, bro.
I'm going to stay listening.
But like the music video, the way these guys act, but also like your
The way these
fucking
guys
name,
act.
bro. You couldn't like choose a
Similar.
name that doesn't
Yeah.
sound too similar to like the hottest drill group, especially Australia.
Especially it's in words, you know? 1-4 has it in words. These
Right.
blokes have it in words.
Yeah, it
At
was,
least like we're 4. What is it like 4-5 or 45, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's up in Brisbane. At least they made it like 2 numbers.
Yeah.
100%, bro. 100%.
Yeah.
74.
So 74, I'm sorry, bro, but you don't get
Sorry,
my first
80,
song,
bro.
bro. 70, 80, what the fuck?
You don't get that good song.
No, sorry, lad, you don't get that close up from me, bro. Nah, it was a bars a week. I'm the rapper dude, like that's
Yeah,
Bro, and we don't like.
I didn't listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, bro. We need like. Oh my gosh, bro. It's just-
fuck 1-4, bro. What are you doing, lad?
Oh, bro, like that's it. And then I think you brought this up as well. Like it's starting to sound like all the same. At least like HB Boys, they have like HB Boys, Hooligan Hefs. Like these guys have their own distinct sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
That's what I was saying before. Is when drill first started coming out, I couldn't really listen to any of them. That's why I didn't really listen to like HK Rick or like all those.
Is that his name?
artists.
HK Rick?
No,
No,
it's HKN.
HKN Rick.
Oh, HK Rick. I was like, nah.
Well, what's his full name? Hooker.
So like when it first came out, I couldn't listen to any drill, unless I couldn't listen to any drill other than 1-4, because anything I listened to outside of 1-4 that was drill, I couldn't help but compare it too much,
I'm not gonna lie.
and so like,
You're right.
that's what I've been trying to do,
But
trying to rewire my brain to the point where I can listen to it openly without. And it's going okay, but I'm just, it's hard, bro.
music wise, like 1-4, like fuck, they're very talented, you know.
Yeah, they are. Man.
But I haven't seen one of these men like in a video where they're staunching cunts, you know,
Yeah, look,
doing
man.
what they're saying, you know.
Yeah, hard. Look, man, there are videos of them sort of doing what they're saying, like.
What, rocking up to Guildford?
No.
4 o'clock in the morning, eh?
No, like I mean, there's videos of them back in the day. Well, you don't really see them individually, but there's videos of just big groups of men. Like this is before it blew up on the news. Like I seen them share this shit on Facebook, where like they're in parks, big brawls. All these boys are like going against each other. Then you see the one in Mount George at the station, where there's fucking
Model loves and
boys, Molotovs and shit, right?
Fuck,
And they're
that's
throwing
scary,
them,
cuz.
and like obviously there's cunts that are jumping off the trains from different areas that
man.
are coming up, and they're fucking walking down the alleyway, like that little hallway thing into the station, and they're trying to run amok.
Haram, bro.
So
That's sad.
If they like, that's the only sort of like. I don't know, man. With 1-4, I know they're hoodlums. Like I know they're hoodlums from like 2014. NF14 was a real big thing to me.
Yeah.
When I noticed it, I noticed NF14 like
24.
they had a name, bro. They had beef with like 3T, like boys from our area, and they just mixed down with they mixed around with like 20, like the area that 21 district is now. And every time they had little scuffles, I'm not gonna lie, bro, but 1-4 came on top a lot of the time. That's just my big, like from what I saw. And then when that kid died, but when that kid died, when Tino died, it's something they brag about afterwards.
Yeah, that's just
And I thought,
that's
like,
just shit goes straight up.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. That's just true.
Bro, but yeah, I was gonna say, bro. So like, what do we think like 7-4 should do to like make themselves more? Like,
stop it, bro. Really? Just come back, bro. You're moving way too fast here, bro.
like, okay, like, what would that like for them to appeal to you? What do you think they need to like?
Image.
Just show me some authenticity, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, alright.
Take the masks off first.
Yeah,
Straight up,
like,
take the undies off your head, bro. Take the undies off your head, brother.
I don't know, bro. Like, just speak truth, bro. Like, don't, because we can see through you. The whole of Australia can see through your shit,
bro.
Okay,
like,
but
the whole of Australia can see through that image you're trying to put up. Like, just be real, bro. That's what we want.
But say like, what happens if like maybe it came out later, like a couple weeks later on, that like some of their dudes were actually part of this lifestyle, like they were about it. Would that like be like? Would you be like, all right, fuck, okay, like?
What you mean? Like if they were, if we got word that they were actually out there doing shit and this and that.
Yeah, that like word came out that like these boys were about it. Would that change your perception on them?
No,
like, would you
I
be like,
I just think you have to step up on your music.
Straight out.
That's what I'll be thinking. Oh, you're a gangster, but
alright, did she come to make music, bro? Like,
because right now it's kind of like a double loss, bro. Because you've got the image you're trying to put up that's not working, and the music itself isn't.
It's not working.
You're like I'm feeling like the only reason it's getting views so people can go and put shit on it.
Yeah, hard.
I mean that's what I'm getting.
That's like 94k views.
What?
Something like
I was like,
nah, that's pretty good, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean
That's pretty
yeah.
good. What
Yeah,
is
it's
better
good.
than all my shit?
right? But I just want to know, man. We need to hear like, do people in Melbourne fuck with like this group, or they just
I
kind
don't
of like?
know,
I
bro.
don't know.
oh yeah. With HP boys, fuck me dead, man.
Yeah, we know like they fuck with HV boys.
You know what? Actually, I saw this, bro. I'm not sure if it was the same group. There was this fucking this bashing that happened in Brisbane, and this little ass kid, he was on the news and he was talking about, oh, these blokes jumped me because they thought I was in HP. You know, they said I was. You didn't see that?
Scarface? Is that
Yeah,
Scarface?
Scarface. Bro, this little kid gets jumped. Oh no, sorry, it wasn't 7-4. It was like
NSG.
yeah, that's right. So
fuck me dead, man.
you know how 1-4 have their beef with 21 District,
Yeah.
or HP have their beef with this clique. You know of it.
And I've heard of it.
Is it Brisbane or Melbourne?
Melbourne.
This was in Melbourne. That's
Melbourne,
right. Yeah. This little teenager kid gets bashed, and then they blur his face out, and they have him talk to the camera, and he's like, "Yeah, they jumped me. They thought I was in HP, and if I see any one of them, I will send them to this hospital." And he's standing in front of the hospital we just came out of. And he's like, "Yeah."
He's standing in front of the hospital. He just came out.
And he's like, if I saw them, I would have done the same thing, you know. And like, and then he's like, to all those guys out there, or to all you industry people out there, this is Scarface. I swear, I was like, nah, no way.
Okay,
But he also got sprung. That same bloke got sprung because people started hitting him up afterwards because he was saying that he was a part of HP, and then people started hitting him up. And then he's looking at his phone. Someone hit him with the screenshot. And he says in clear words, "I am not a part of HP." And then the bloke was like, "Oh yeah, so what'd you say you were a part of HP?" Sprung, bro. Sprung. So be careful, bro. Be careful when you say shit like that.
bro, what do you think of like those fucking nicknames with like dudes that come up to you like, bro, I'm Scarface?
Nah, bro.
See, bro, it's more intimidating when people say that your nickname as opposed to you saying, "Can I make
So at first you can look like a shit cunt, but you can sound like a shit cunt.
Look, I'm all for nicknames. Just don't. Yeah, but Scarface.
Name yourself Scarface.
Yeah,
bro.
like
Where's
Scarface
the scar at?
or Joker or Snake
Joker.
or something like that.
Bro,
Like,
if
that's
you name
just
yourself
stupid, bro.
Joker, you're the biggest funny kind of slayer.
Yeah, or Spider or some dumb Spider.
Imagine name yourself Snake.
Yeah, bro. Like
Yeah, rap.
some shit like that, bro.
Yo, what a rap. What a rap.
Bro, fuck
Yeah,
hell,
bro.
man.
So I'm all for nicknames. Just
Speaking of names, bro, there's some names that I've seen.
be a bit
Fuck.
creative.
You know what name I thought was really fucking stupid, bro? Chillinit. I thought Chillinit was a really stupid name,
I
bro.
didn't realize it was named after the fucking Gatorade bottle.
What's that what it was?
Yeah, there's a Gatorade bottle called like Chili.
And that's what he named himself
Oh.
after.
Because like
I guess it makes more sense.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Oh, because
When I first read that name, Chillin', I was like, Chillin' it. I was like, is he like trying to put a wordplay on killing it?
Yeah.
Because it's not working for
Yeah.
me.
Funny
But
how-
after hearing that,
yeah, that's
that
it.
makes
That
Because
makes sense. Yeah,
there
that
was
makes
a
perfect
like
sense.
Gatorade bottle that
Yeah.
said like
Yeah,
420,
yeah,
420
yeah.
fam, all that makes sense, bro. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but do you guys? But
Bro,
you
I
know
want to
what?
get that flag. The 420 flag. It's like a TN logo, but they put 420 over it. I
But
want to
you,
get that flag.
you know what makes me laugh is like, bro, I couldn't take Melbourne seriously after. You remember the Brody boys from
Look the middle.
Bro, I lost you.
Bro, they're full showing you the stabbing points. You stab him here, you'll bleed. You stab him here, instant death. Or some shit like that. I'm like, what the fuck?
Look at this guy.
Oh, bro.
And he was like,
Chicha.
when was the last time you bashed someone? Oh, last night when I was talking to you. I was like, what?
But I love that they was like, bro, if I see you and I make eye contact with you, I'm gonna knock you out.
But I also love when he's like, if they try to stand up to you, you stand even more up.
Stand even more. Fuck how fresh you
Fucking
are.
grab a milk crate.
Fucking import, bro.
Yeah, bro. Bro.
Stand even more
That was a classic when it first came out.
Bro, that went on for a while too, bro.
Oh
that,
my
that
God.
Well,
was
They're like a bunch of boys just surrounding each other.
Cause they're all lebos, they're all
All bellied, all like
Yeah.
bandanas.
And
And
I think see the mullets too. They're fucking
big mullet popping out the back.
Bro, they weren't even butted up, bro. It was just like fucking t-shirts. They
little t-shirts. T-shirts.
Fucking
Oh, fuck, bro.
These guys are funny ones, man.
But bro. Fucking a lot of music, a lot of shit's been happening. Tiguala Flats. Whatever.
I didn't hear it. I was made aware of it,
Yeah.
but I haven't heard it at all.
I heard the little snippet
What?
because J Lex shared it, co-signed it.
Boys from Parramatta, right?
Yeah.
Parramatta.
Yeah, he's from Parramatta. What's like?
But that's good, man. Fucking Paramount is getting into it.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah, bro. Like, I'm all.
Fucking dead, man. Next thing you know, Bathurst is getting involved. Fucking dead, man. Bathurst, Orange is getting involved. And all
No,
this
I think it's a good time because I mean, this is pretty much. Well, I don't want to say the birth of rap in Australia, but it's really like the growth period, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
really that time
we're in a
where
boom period.
we're in a big boom period. So it's fucking exciting, bro. Especially when you come from people who are our age who's been waiting for fucking some real Aussie music to come along.
But bro, you know what? I fucking keep waiting, man. So now we've like heard from like fucking Guildford, Mount Druitt, Doonside, fucking Campbelltown, and fucking and freaking Parramatta now, bro.
Yeah.
When's Bankstown gonna get put on the map? This is gonna be our one.
Nah,
We
cuz
got-
Bankstown don't. Nah, we're doing work, cuz.
We don't
Nah,
make
we're
music.
saying-
we don't make music, cuz. Nah, brother, you know, we just do our
We're
thing.
saying less and moving heavy. That's just.
I think something will, I don't know. I think something will come. I think something from Bankstown will come soon.
Yeah, please, whoever that person is.
Look, we're just perfecting it, you know. We're looking at everyone else. We're looking at Campbelltown. Oh, they messed up.
Go back to the lab and write it up a formula.
We're filling our holes, you know.
Yeah,
We're trying to, you know,
do it right.
do it right, mate. Do it very fucking right.
I agree, man. Because I sort of move like that as well. Like in a sense of like everyone popped off, and I'm just watching how everyone moves, and just some of them are reckless, some of them are cool, some of them are bars.
I wouldn't,
Some man,
like,
that-
even if an artist never came out of Bankstown, bro, it wouldn't matter because, you know, for me, I know Bankstown has its name. I know we've held our own. Been through it
For a long time.
for a long time, bro, and fuck that, bro. You know, we don't need the media representation.
No.
But with that being said,
We don't need red
I do think someone will come out and produce
Yeah.
something.
Murder capital, man. Bankstown is the murder capital.
Yeah, like
Is
Bankstown,
it?
Canterbury
Yeah,
for
area.
real?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Bankstown's the murder capital.
They did a big Daily Telegraph post about it. Like, I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago or something.
Now we know why all the white people stay away.
Yeah, but no, for real. I used to always have this like. People have that misconception about people from Bankstown. If you look a certain way, like for me,
Yeah, bro.
I'm a gentle guy, bro. Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty like easy to approach. And they're like, "Oh, where you from, bro? I'm from Bankstown." And then like as soon as I say Bankstown,
That's
It's
it.
like
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, bro. I have the exact same. I have the exact same experience, bro. Oh, where you from, bro? Yeah, exactly, bro. Oh, where you from, bro? Oh, I'm from Bankstown. Yeah. Oh, hey, cuz. Yeah, you're sick, cunt. Like every time, bro. Yeah.
It's like, "Cuz, we're not fucking aliens, bro."
Like now with the whole lad culture or that whole culture in general being exposed to more wider audiences, now it doesn't happen as much.
Nah.
But like back then, bro, it was like, oh yeah, you're from Bankstown. Oh yeah, cuz. Yeah, cuz.
Oh, like, yeah, being from the fucking.
But nowadays, it's
Like,
like,
oh,
oh,
salam
you from
alaikum,
Mount
like every time, bro. Yeah. Yeah, and if you can,
Some liberal asked me, "Oh, you from Mount Druitt?" And I was like, "Nah, why?" He's like, "Oh, good, because I don't like people from Mount Druitt."
How am I now? Like, no, when I was like about like 8 years ago, I used to like when people told me and I asked them, "Oh, where you from, bro?" I was like, I'm from Mount Druitt." I just automatically assumed that you were poor, bro. I don't know why.
oh, brother.
I mean, that doctor, yeah.
I just assumed you were poor, bro, because it's just like, oh fuck, you're poor. Fuck, hey, fuck.
Oh,
Don't worry about chippings, lad. Don't worry about chippings, lad.
Hey, don't worry, I'll buy his meal. It's all good, bro.
Don't worry about chippings, bro. Oh fuck.
man, Mount Druitt looked very, very dusty.
Bro, but I will say, like, bro, like, yeah, we should, like, people should have Mount Druitt, but are we not gonna deny that they have, like, probably the best fucking Westfields in, like...
100% they do.
Well, it's like right in the middle, isn't it?
Oh fuck.
I like it, bro.
What's another? I'm trying to think of other good Westfields, bro. I always thought Burwood was a good Westfield.
Miranda.
I like Paris.
Miranda is a good Westfield,
I
bro.
think Miranda's the best one.
Miranda was like fucking sky zone in here.
Yeah, I think Miranda, to be honest.
I'd say Miranda. I'd put Paris. I don't like Paris. Oh fuck, man.
You
Going to
can't
Paris
shop
is so red hot, bro.
Bro,
because she's going to the bike came up close and you
I
can't
think
even shop.
I know what you mean, because every single time I rock up to Parramatta, I'm looking at all these cunts and I'm thinking something shifty's going up in here, bro.
Bro, but that's the crazy thing, like, just how fucking big Parramatta got over the years. Like, you remember, like, it's now become, like, its own city.
Yeah.
Like, you remember back in the day, it was just, like, another, like, town and shit. But, like, now it's, like, I think...
It's literally flooded.
I think they said it's the second...
Right?
Yeah, they said it's the second biggest CBD in Sydney.
It's almost like it is like a CBD.
There's a Culture Kings there too. Fuck.
There is?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Is there?
Yeah.
I never shopped.
Bro, I've never been to Culture Kings.
Bro,
I'm not paying $150, $200 for
apparently
a
their haircuts are around $45.
Yeah, bro, fuck that.
that.
That's stupid, bro.
Fuck that.
I used to get a fucking haircut from a guy in a garage at Punchbowl for $8.
Got my haircut from there too.
That little small little garage,
I
yeah.
had the most hectic conversations. His dad would come out, bro.
Oh,
Fucking
fuck! I always used to try and like peer into, like, you know how they had like that door at the far back. I think
that's
that,
what
like,
they were doing in the back.
yeah, like I think when like the dudes would like live or something,
Yeah.
I'd always like try to like peek through, like, oh, what's going on? Oh,
Yeah, bro.
fuck, shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
man.
I like that guy.
I remember that little spot, bro. I remember when I first went by that, I didn't really believe it was a barbershop. I thought, what?
His garage, yeah.
I love seeing that bloke, bro. I love going there, bro. Just, like, I knew he always, like, sometimes he did a bodgy job, but like, I don't know, that's another thing, bro. When I was, fuck me dead, when I was 7 to like 9 years old, a haircut was not important. Like, maybe to 12, I'll push it to 12, 13 maybe. Getting a haircut was not a big deal. For like kids like that are now 14, they need to get a haircut every week, and I was just like, bro, like, well, maybe.
I have a cousin like that. Like every week he's cutting his hair. It got so bad, bro. Like the bloke came from Brisbane, right? And it got so fucking bad where he first came to Sydney and he was stressing about getting a haircut, but he didn't want to go visit any of these local ones because he's never been there before, and he was worried he's going to fuck it up. The bloke flew to Brisbane. Went to Pacific Cuts, got his cut, and came back and went clubbing. That's why he got the haircut, because he went to go clubbing. I'm not gonna.
Fuck, dead, bro.
So this is a serious thing, bro. Haircuts, bro. Because I think
Apparently nowadays it is, bro. Yeah.
Bro,
Maybe
just
being
let-
14.
Just let the
Yeah, I see
fucking
the
hair
fade
grow
in.
and then
Yeah.
get your haircut, bro.
I see you got that hectic fade, son.
Straight up.
Oh yeah, that is a nice fade.
Cause like you look at people now, like fucking yeah. I got this friend at school. He every Friday he has a haircut. I'm just looking at the kind of like, brother, you're paying $25 a week for a haircut. You're a funny one, bro.
Yeah, funny now.
And he comes to school, hectic fades and that. Sometimes it's fucking fucked
Look,
up.
I just never look. If you go to a boys' school, I never understood the need to do that shit, bro. Like if you go to a boys' school, I just
Makes sense, and yeah, it's a co-ed school.
Yeah. Well, if it's a co-ed school, girls are there, bro. Like you know, freshen up a bit. But still, boys school, I'm rocking up in great trackies, bro.
But like, you live in this day and age, cause you gotta rock up to school with some fucking passion on you, you know. Can't rock up to school in fucking baggy long pants and
I wonder.
trashy jackets and shit.
I do wonder how and if school cultures like any has changed any
I think it has, man.
any bit to when we were
Like,
there.
listen to this, bro. I went to see my mate, Ryder in fucking Campbelltown.
Shout
Like,
out.
Oh, right, at time.
Yeah, well, I saw Ryder Tatum just it was yesterday. I don't know, maybe the day Thursday. I'm on the way there because I have to get off at Reesley. I have to get off at Reesley to catch a train there. I jump off and I see a youth worker I used to work with, and I sit with them for a bit. And then these East Hills boys, they walk up on the platform, and one of them is like, they see that that he's fob, that he's leather and I'm fob. He walks past us and is like, which side are you on? Like this big fucking short leather, like fat cunt, like he's in your 8. Which side are you on? 21 or 14? It's leather. Like, to me, it shook me because he's like a kid and he's from leather first of all, and you're from East Hills.
Yeah.
And I
East
thought,
Hills?
like, yeah, he's from East Hills.
What'd you say to him?
I was like,
Just
nothing.
none
Like,
of your
you
fucking business.
No, he was
You just want your back.
No, he was being playful. He wasn't trying to staunch. He was asking us like, if you're in Reesby, because there's no beef there.
What is
So
why
I
you
was
trying to bring it
what
up?
side are
then?
you on? 21 or 14? And I was like, what a funny cunt. And then my youth worker was like, 22, guys, 22. And I was like, what a sick cunt. What a sick cunt. And then he walks off, and I was like, fuck. Then at that point, I realized, like, he's just fucking. It's reflective. Like the whole situation that's happening with the streets. It's reflective, and it's our young people that are seeing this all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's
Cause
just that fobs. Our levels are getting fucking like they're getting infatuated by this.
influence and that.
Yeah, they're getting
Right,
bro,
yeah.
look, just when I say infatuated, I mean they're falling in love with this whole idea of having boys in videos that like look like this. They like the look, and I think a lot of the,
Yeah.
your school. I don't know what it's like in your school, but my school was not like that, bro.
What Belmore?
No,
I'll tell you about Belmore right now, cause everyone's bringing knives to school, bro.
Seriously.
Yeah, everyone's bringing knives to school, and it's funny because like when they get got, it's just like it's a whole different story.
Like so. I mean, like at Belmont Boys, right? So,
Mm.
without giving away too much, is there like dramas with like other schools, or is there drama with like other
Nah,
areas, or
there's-
is it just like a?
There's no dramas, just bring it for show. I don't know
Uh,
why.
Look, I'll tell you something, bro. Like, I'll tell you something. With Bellside, when I was in primary school and shit, Bellside always had fucking deep problems with like.
Yeah,
they
bro,
always had deep problems.
there was
like,
always something.
I
happening,
always
bro.
remember like in high school. I remember they used to have like mad beef with fucking Canterbury, like
yeah,
Belmore
they
and
did.
Canterbury.
The Canterbury boys. They had beef with everyone, bro. They used to punch on with fucking St. Charbells.
Yeah.
Like St. Charbells, they used to.
No, it's an RSL club.
No. Yeah, but Belmont has a really bro. Isn't
Has a deep history, bro.
yeah, bro. It's like the top 3 most dangerous schools in Sydney, bro. It's like Granville's first, and
What nowadays?
That shocked me. That video. Shocked
What
me
nowadays
because-
it is?
bro. So they ranked it. Granville first, Belmore second, and what was third?
Yeah,
Or
Granville-
was Belmore third?
Granville ain't that bad, is it?
Granville's
I
fucking
think it is, bro.
bro. I was in Bulldog Shield, and
Bulldog Shield.
yeah, Bulldog Shield. We couldn't play our third game because there was a mad brawl against Granville and SJB, which was Sir Joseph Banks. And fucking, you get this mad like red hot Tom, brother. He rocks up there to see his cousin play, and all of a sudden there's a brawl, and he walks off, and he's on the phone, and he comes back with a few boys, and then he's like, "Oh, what's the go?" And there's already police there, and then they all fucking gap it, and like our teachers are like, "Oh, alright, we can't play our third game. We're just gonna go back on the bus." I'm like, "Fuck me, dead."
Look, bro, there's fucking poor teachers. Could you imagine being like a small, like fucking skinny? Could you imagine being like a small, fucking like skinny, like Aussie teacher or like an
And you have
Indian
to-
or
and
like
you have to control these
and
fucking.
these big fucking like rugby players are like fucking balling and shit.
I don't know, but I remember when I went to school, there were, you had your you had your normal students who'd go there and learn or whatever. But there was a large portion of the students, bro, who were out in the street and who were proper rugged cunts and who were this and that. And I remember like going back, like when I was at SJB and Punchbowl Boys.
Punchbowl Boys is second on the list. Sorry.
Punchbowl Boys is second on the list. Wait, let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. You're telling me that there was a recent... Who published this list?
I don't know.
There was a list that was published recently.
Yeah.
How recent? This year?
I don't know. Was it this year?
And you're telling me that they put Punchbowl Boys as the second most dangerous school...
Third
most dangerous school in the country.
Yeah.
Fuck
the
off.
country? Was it the country, son?
New South Wales.
Fuck off. Fuck off. That's such a fucking lie, bro.
I reckon
that's such a lie.
I reckon in New South
That's
Wales.
such a lie, bro. Nah. No, sorry.
Because that's some...
Like you say, it's mellowed out.
As someone who's been there...
It mellowed out.
It mellowed right the fuck out, bro.
Because it was in primary school. When I remember, it was when we were in primary school.
When we were at the peak. Yeah, when we were at primary school, it was
I agree. I heard a lot about...
Even when I done my little trip up north, people like a lot of older boys that were from Punchbowl, like all cuz are like, oh, where you from? For Punchbowl? Yeah. And you tell them, oh, where'd you go to? Like they'd ask me, where'd you go to school? Punchbowl Boys. Oh, do you know this and that? Because they assume that I'm older because I look a bit bigger than I think. And then they were telling me all these stories about Punchbowl Boys and this and that. So Punchbowl Boys was wild back then, but no, bro, not now, bro. Nah, not now.
I think the same thing.
Yeah, not now. That's full of shit. Even Granville. I reckon that's.
They're rowdy, like they're rowdy though.
I agree, they're rowdy, but
I don't think it's like that fucking.
I don't know, bro.
But I remember like my mom used to use that fucking like Punchbowl Boys as a scare tactic for me. like she was fucking setting she was like setting me to like fucking like maximum prison or something. She was like, oh, if you don't get your grades up, I'm sending you to Punchbowl Boys. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go to Punchbowl Boys. And she's like, you know what happens at Punchbowl Boys? like it was almost like fucking jail, bro.
Well, but coming up in primary school, I heard that was a name that used to be given to Punchbowl Boys a lot. It looks like a fucking jail. As you walk along it,
it does,
bars.
No, it does. Yeah, it does. Even when you go in there, bro, like the little place where you go set up for assembly looks like a yard. Like I swear to God, like, if you sit there because you got the whole this whole concrete there, but it's a tennis court painted, and there's like a little like walkway up top. Yeah, and you're just sitting there with the boys and you're on the tables and you're like, fuck, I know this is hard.
Next then?
Fuck, what period you got next then?
Bro, he's eyeing you out.
Bro, I've got double math.
Fuck that.
No, but see, the reason why, for me, I wouldn't be so sure is because it's a predominantly fucking Arab school. Yeah. And like, we get along with Arabs, bro, but I know how much that shit can get out of hand.
Bro, yeah, Arabs and Islanders are fucking rowdy, bro.
Yeah, you said the wrong thing to a fob.
Yeah, bro.
You said the wrong thing to an Arab.
Yeah, so yeah, like when you were even SJB was like there was a lot of Islanders and a lot of Lebos. Punchbowl was like that. It was split, not almost split. A lot of majority were Lebos, the rest were all Islanders. And yeah, bro, when shit went off, fuck, bro, it got rowdy, man. And it's you got all these fucking angry fucking Middle Easterns and Islanders.
Bro, I'm sorry, I can't help but imagine when you say this shit gets rowdy, that the teachers have like riot gear running up that shit, like chucking tear gas.
Yeah, bro.
In the fucking courtyard.
Like straight up, like because like you know a lot of the staff were Middle Eastern. But we'd have a few of those, you know, Indians or Aussie teachers in there. Yeah. And sometimes when the boys would act up, like there was this one fucking woodwork teacher, Mr. McMore, I think it was. There was an Aussie cunt, bro, just an old cunt, real, you know.
Do you wear shorts?
No. Oh fuck.
Nah.
Sometimes he did. And the boys would never respect him, bro. They arc up on him and that. But whenever he'd come and go and get like say Mr. Dib, or he'd go and get like Miss like whoever the fuck it was. It was order. They'd come in and there's. The teacher was rousing them, but they'd all come in order, you know what I mean? And it's funny, bro.
You know why, bro? It's because like they understand each other.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain attitude you gotta...
It's like that, there's that instant commonality between them that they can...
But not even that, but I think it's like the thing as well, like if they would have got an Islander teacher, it's the idea of like, it's an elder that you treat like with respect.
Yeah.
You know, if it's like a white person and they're not related to you, you're like, oh fuck it, like they're not related to me. But if it was like a person of your own nash, you're like, oh fuck, I gotta treat this person.
Because I've had some classes, bro. I've had some classes where
you have your auntie teaching you.
Oh fuck,
wow.
Because I'm running a block on
You're sitting there with
the burning, bro. What you you back, lad.
And then your auntie's like, are you gonna help me? And then you fucking just join with your boys. Don't look like a bitch.
Or teacher's pit.
Well, it's the other way you lose, because if you stand up, you're like, stop making my foot on my auntie, lad. What? Or you join your boys and fuck over your family.
Look, I'm gonna say this though.
Fucking hell.
Lebo's made my high school life.
Oh, bro.
Really made my life
just
good in high school, bro.
Thank you.
Bro, thank you,
bro.
Lebo.
Thank you,
for
bro.
making my high school
Fuck,
life.
bro. Some
It
good
really
laughs.
passed my time, bro.
Some good laughs, bro.
Lebo's really passed my time, bro. I'll tell you that.
I swear, bro, there's been classes, bro, where they literally, the teachers have had no control. And because it was PE, and Puttsville Boys has a big field, and we were meant to run all these things, but the boys literally just started grabbing the cones, throwing them around, and we're just running around, and I'm thinking, this is school, this is the best. You
Bro,
know what
I had
I
a
mean?
visual arts class, man, and our teacher was gay.
Oh,
Mr. Stotts.
Oh, Mr. Stotts, I know
And
Mr.
he was
Stotts.
gay, bro. He came to our visual arts class, and at the time we had Mohammed K, Malik, all these riffle dudes, just like riffle dudes, they're rugged, bro. So sitting there, and then it's like, well, he's like, give me a paintbrush, and then Malik would be like, sir, what are you gonna do with that paintbrush? He started calling him faggot, gay, you're a faggot, sir, because he left the class, walked outside, and started crying. All the fobs get up, sir, it's all good. Sir, don't worry about them, sir, come back inside.
I think that's the thing, like with Bobs, bro. They're like, bro, I think that's the thing with Bobs, that like we like a good time and shit.
Yeah.
Like we like a good time, but then when it
But we
gets out of hand,
don't want to see anyone. you
yeah,
know?
like when it gets
Stop
out of
crying.
hand, then we'll be like, alright, sorry, bro, we're just like.
But we want to see you. We want to see you happy. We want to see you drink. So don't worry about them, brother. Get back in there and teach that class.
Bro, me and Harry just rubbing his back. Oh, good sir, come back inside.
Don't worry about it, sir.
Come back inside.
Full crying and
Yeah,
shit.
bro.
I remember, like, bro, that's like Mr. Stotts. I had him once, bro, and like, remember there was a bloke called Yahya.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So I was with him, and we were just running amok in class, and the whole time he's trying to get us to like being patient about it. Oh, please be quiet, do your work, this and that. But one time, he eventually had enough, and me and him were fucking around. And he just went real loud. He went, "Oh, for fuck's sakes!" And then he thought that was gonna put us in order. But me and Yahya literally looked at each other, and we were like, "Whoa!"
Oh, fuck me,
And then the bloke just gave up, bro. He went and sat. I think he went to go get a deputy, and that was it, bro. Straight up. And that was my high school experience, bro. That's how high school went for me, bro. It was great.
People thought that wasn't a door.
People thought they was gonna set it straight, but the way he said it.
Oh, they think I cursed. That should be enough. Nah.
Oh, they thought I was
serious?
nice. Yeah, you don't want to see me with a
because. Oh, funny can. Fuck, I've had some of them teachers, the one that swear to try and get your attention.
No.
Oh, mate.
No.
Oh, but we actually smashed straight because fuck,
Where,
a bunch of pussies.
where are these fucking rappers coming out of the? They're coming out of real urban areas, bro. Areas like that produce like those schools.
Mount Druitt, it's urban.
Yeah, bro. Are you serious? Mount Druitt is probably like
Urban? Is it urban?
Mount Druitt.
Yeah, bro, it's like a lot of like housing commissions are out that
Yeah,
area.
definitely.
Oh,
Isn't that rural?
Is that what you mean? Is that what you mean by urban?
Isn't urban more city?
Suburban is, I think.
Suburban.
I would say, yeah,
Ah.
it's more suburban, yeah, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's a good question. I might fucking answer it.
Suburban.
Bro, what do we think about calling our suburbs now districts? Are we all on board?
Nah.
Are we like,
Again, bro,
I think that's just a new age thing. That's just a new age thing that the kids want to do.
State regionals, district,
Because I've never
nationals.
ever heard areas being referred to as districts before.
It's like the Hunger Games, bro. I'm gonna die for my district, lad.
Fucking die for numbers, eh?
Fucking hell.
I'm gonna die for the 21.
What a bad gun, lad.
But nah, I never heard of people referred to as districts before. But if that's what you want to do, by all means, go for it.
Bro, that's Benny thing where he's like, you fucking changed your name 4 times.
Oh yeah.
Like,
This kind of knew the way.
yeah, bro.
This man was there for
counting
since
how many
day
times
one.
counting how many times they changed their names.
Pussies. You make up lies to make your stories fit. You always make up lies.
What was it? Dog? What would I run?
What would I run?
Then he, like, nah. At that point when he said, You said that I'd run, like I'd run. What would I run? In his face, you could tell in his face that he wasn't gonna run, bro.
Yeah.
I could
In
tell.
his face, because you couldn't see his nose was like nearly on the camera. Bro. You couldn't see his head, bro.
He wanted you to see, but
You wanted to feel the emotion,
What would
yeah.
I run? Like I think Spenny is like the most red hot kind of those guns.
But he's very entertaining. It makes me
bro.
laugh, bro.
That made me laugh, bro. That goofy video made me
The
laugh.
one where he's
bro.
inside the group chat or some shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was funny.
Yeah, nah, bro. It was
Fucking pussy dogs.
unsend your messages, you dog.
Bro, there was one, bro. You must have seen this video. There's a video of them in a train, and there's 3 dudes or 2 dudes sitting down.
Oh
And you must
yeah,
have
and
seen
they swing on
Yeah.
it.
Like,
They're like, get up, get up.
Yeah.
And then-
with the hammer, yeah.
I don't know,
No, not with the
Right.
hand. So the guy's
Doing
just
it,
sitting there with his like girlfriend or like mate or something, and like they're like it's like 4 dudes and they're arcing up to
it,
him,
man, yeah.
But
And
there's
they all
heaps
like-
on like the other cabinets too.
and they're
bro.
all like, and he's like, no, I don't want to fight. They're like, get up, like you got,
Get up, shut up.
yeah, bro. They're like, fucking get up, and then they like fucking slap him, and then he stands up, and then all
Yeah,
of like
bro.
4 of them just start like
Yeah.
fucking beating him, bro.
In that situation, bro, I'm just looking at it like, fuck, man. You're never gonna get caught in a situation like that. Where you're talking shit.
gotta-
man.
But props to that dude. Like that dude didn't
100%.
bitch it. Like he took it.
Oh, so that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
So
he did
he
a
stood up.
big
So
one.
he's
They hit
so.
him, he got up, and
Yeah, when he hit him,
jumped
like he stood up and grabbed one of them, and then they all just started
Yeah.
swinging
Oh
on him.
fuck! Good on you, brother.
Good on you, bro.
Good on you,
Marcos
bro.
on that,
Sick
bro.
cunt.
That's it, bro. Like, bro, no,
That's it, bro. You know,
You
you,
do
you know,
the other ones.
like
Like,
you stand up for yourself, take the beating, and move because it's 4 blokes, bro. You're not gonna win.
Yeah, bro, 100%. Like, you got respect, bro. 100.
Good on you, brother. Good on you. Who was that bloke? We should
I
send
don't
him-
know.
find out who he
Pretty
is.
sure
bro.
it was in
We
the
should send him a case.
they did the whole nah. So they were having a laugh at him, and they did the whole like before, and had him all fresh and shit, and then after it, he's like all fucked up. I was looking at him like, fuck, he's a funny cunt, bro. Like, if it was the other way around, bro, like, fuck.
I don't think it would have been being released, cause
But, bro, to be honest, like, who do you think is about it out of, like, 1-4? If you had to, like, choose, like, out of the 4
Oh, it's hard to tell, bro, because you don't really know him.
Yeah, hard.
But if you were to go off a first impression,
spinning.
fuck, I don't know, bro. Fuck, I don't know.
Well, like, look, man, they made the most noise, and if they got, like, everyone's gonna be like, oh, like for me,
It's hard for me, bro, because
This
I don't know.
podcast is a lot of people are listening to it like, oh, these guys are talking shit. Well, to be honest, we're talking shit about things that everyone
No.
puts out there in the public, and I'm just
Talking shit is saying shit like, oh, what, that song? But that's a shit song, bro. Like, you know, like, oh, look at these
Yeah,
gronk.
right.
That's talking shit.
Yeah,
Like, talking shit saying like, oh, this cunt's done this and that, this cunt's a gronk. Oh, nah, I think
Yeah.
that's talking
you know
shit.
you know how these area cunts are gonna take it, bro.
yeah. And,
Who
bro,
gives a
then,
fuck,
like,
bro? Fuck
yeah,
it.
even then, bro, even when we done, like, a song, bro, we give our reasons, like, oh, it was, like, we didn't like the beat, or we didn't like...
And we're allowed to, bro. Like, it's a podcast. Like,
No, bro,
if you're gonna think about it, if you're gonna go on the internet and you see podcasts, you're gonna know what you're getting into.
Yeah, bro.
Like, so don't click on there, listen to it thinking, oh, look at these cunts talking shit. I mean, if you think that way, well, fuck, bro. I mean, you're just wasting your time.
You're wasting your breath, guys.
Like, legit, you're gonna, I don't know. So,
Bro, 100%, man.
I mean,
I just feel like they're putting content out for the public to see, and I'm just addressing everything.
I love it, bro. Like, I love
it too.
I love the fact that Sydney's fucking, you know. I love the fact that
Fucking
I love the
flourishing.
fact that Sydney's progressing.
They're fucking flourishing.
I love that it's on the up, and I love that more so. Not only are people from local areas are doing it, but the whole state are in tune with it,
Yeah,
and we're all. It's like I said, it's in a growth period,
it's becoming a big community thing.
and we're here talking about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what we're here for. This is a podcast.
I just want us to get to the point where, like, fucking we're playing, like, our own music on, like, the fucking radio. Like, you know what I mean?
100%.
I
Yeah,
messaged him.
yeah.
I messaged him about that yesterday because I was listening to what was I listening to? I was listening to is it Soccer in Elijah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
That was
listening-
on the radio?
No, it was on YouTube. But I was listening to it, and somewhere along the line, I thought, you know, there's enough content in here, and there's enough music to make a radio station. Like, not just with Elijah, but with the whole of Sydney or the whole of
quite
Australia. There's enough content there, and this is probably giving away a fucking golden idea. But we have enough content, we have enough music to make an actual radio station
agree,
to run a continuous loop of, you know, new
Just
music,
Aussie.
Yeah.
just straight Aussie, none of this Triple J pop mainstream shit.
None of that bullshit.
Straight up, you know, Aussie
I
rap,
agree.
bro.
Alright. To whoever's fucking listening, James Pack or whatever, give us money and we can do it.
Fuck us, lads.
We can do it,
but
man.
see, no, it's possible. Because, like, if this podcast gets hot enough, obviously, like, people will look at it and be like, look, man, they're getting like, the people are listening. We should get them on here to represent us in a sense like that.
Bro, I've always said, bro, like, hopefully this podcast goes alright, but I just said, I don't want money. I want us to get to the point where people give us free shit.
Oh,
That's all I want.
yeah, bro.
Bro, I was like, if we could get this Bud Light sponsorship.
J Lexus comp like new shoes and shit.
Bro, I was like, bro, if we get a camera.
JD Sports, hit us up.
JD Sports. Yeah, bro, we don't care. We will sell out in a minute.
Nah, bro.
We will sell out our principles. We'll put your logo on the back. We will wear your shit. Like,
I feel you there.
The higher your dollars, the lower our morals.
Fuck, man. Yeah, but well, mark my words, man. Husky's gonna make some noise. Mark my words. Husky's gonna make some. He's gonna do some damage, bro.
Definitely.
He's gonna damage the game right now.
Certainly put on the weight, eh?
Yeah, he definitely put on weight.
when you say weight, like, do you mean like
Weight,
fat?
kgs,
Yeah.
fat.
Bro, you'll think like with all that time, like you'll fucking work out.
Training.
Nah, bro. Yeah.
From what I understand about Husky is that he was just on drugs a lot, and I think when he went in, he realized that he could eat. Like he was clean. Like he's clean. He's not on the shit no more, and he was just clean. So I felt like he could.
I mean, that was sort of like Vic. I mean, when he was out in the street, he was fine. He was skinny. He was, he looked alright. Vic.
Oh yeah,
He was skinny. He was all that, and then he went to jail. He took a little trip, and then came back all fat, eating up all that CSI shit, bro.
Bro, all I know, that was me. I'm hitting the burpees. I'm getting muscles.
Straight up, at one point in my life when I get that fat, I probably want to go to jail just to lose weight.
Oh,
I can't go to the gym because like after the gym session, cause knackered straight away.
Fuck you, yeah, bro. You'll lose a lot of it, bro. You'll lose a lot of it.
You look at Gucci Mane, cause
Bro,
Oh yeah,
that guy
hey.
fucking got shredded, man.
Like
He didn't look like Gucci Mane
you know, you really turned your life around when people think that there's a double, that there was a
Yeah.
double of you. Like
100%.
they don't believe that that's you. They believe that that's a double of you.
mm.
That's how you know you fucking really changed, bro. Because he went in real fat, eh?
he was like
Super
Bro,
fat.
yeah, he had a big like lean addiction. And
Yeah,
shit,
bro. And then he came out and he's got big white pearly teeth, big diamonds. You know how they do on Complex? They do the rappers jewelry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
he
he
had
had the.
He had the biggest.
Everyone
episode.
says he has the best like jewelry
Everything.
collection.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Gucci Mane.
Oh, bro.
Because you know how they were doing those segments, how they rappers show their jewelry and that.
Yeah.
Except Ferg, all these other people. All of them, every single one they interviewed, they all said Gucci Mane has the best jewelry, and they made an episode of him. Sure enough, fucking flooded, bro. Flooded, cunt.
No,
Who's
yeah,
the
like,
Gucci Mane of Australia?
That's a weird question to
I
answer,
mean, if there
bro.
was a Gucci Man in Australia,
Fuck, I say it was TKO, bro. Spaniard.
A Gucci Mane of Australia, I don't know, bro. That's a tough one. to
Because
answer.
this one,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
that's
that's
what the Gucci Mane was. I'm trying to be the Gucci Mane of
Like, do you mean like went in, turned their life around, or we talking the whole thing like
really
live
show
that
some-
lifestyle?
Like,
and,
who would be the most? Who,
Yeah, like-
who would be the rapper that most compares to Gucci? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
are you trying to say that someone like
Fuck, I don't know.
shot someone while he was pumping someone?
the Gucci Mane of Australia. Because the thing is that what blows it for me is that like Gucci Mane is really big in like, for example, I'd compare Gucci to Enzo or something like that. They're in the streets, not Enzo, it's not on the level like that, but like in the streets doing the real shit and then making bars about it. But still, so when I first heard Gucci Mane, I thought it was trash. Like I just didn't like that. I just didn't like that shit, bro.
Yeah.
That shit was trash. And then
Same.
like 10 years later, it's the future, bro. 10 years later, trap is the thing, and it's fucking hot right now. So like, in the same sense, Enzo like was doing all that grimy fucking Aussie shit, and I was doing fuck this cunt's trash, bro. Cunts at school were telling me like, nah, bro, I fucking like this cunt better than Tupac. I was like, you fucking like that cunt better than Tupac? Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, bro. There's some real mad fans out
Well,
here.
someone actually told me that, bro. Someone was like
Yeah.
listening to Enzo and they're like, nah, fucking Enzo's better than Tupac, and I thought you're a fucking weed cunt.
Yeah.
10 years later, fuck me dead, bro. All this bad shit is the hottest shit right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. I know that there's a huge fan base for that because I remember. I mean, I'd go on Facebook like way back, and that Enter would drop some new songs, or Skimmer might make a post or something like that, somewhere along those lines, or Cursor might say something, and there'd be all these young Aussie kids from like Northern Territory, Adelaide, or from wherever, all saying shit like, oh, bruh, like fuck, like. What's the word? Like, oh, bro, like you made me, you made me turn my life around. Like, bro, you inspire the fuck out of me, this and that. And
I like that,
It
man.
kind of makes sense, bro. You
I
know what I
like
mean?
that shit,
Because
But you know what's funny? Like, Enter still puts out music, but I rarely hear of Schemo, bro. Like,
because Schemo's a crack cunt, bro.
Yeah, bro. I don't know.
I think
what
he's a
Schemo
crack
is,
cunt.
Well, he doesn't go by Schemo anymore. It's Skis Loren.
Oh, really?
That's literally his name. Yeah, Skis Loren.
Fuck,
That's what he
nah,
goes
bro,
by.
fuck that. You're Schemo to me.
Yeah, but for me, I'll always think of him as Schemo. But I don't know. Yeah,
Pumpkin, bro.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to it, bro.
It's a crack cunt. Fuck, is a crack cunt.
Yeah,
That's what I think. I think it's a crack cunt.
there's something's going on. He's got some legal battles going on or something.
The legals, fuck
Got the bad
bro.
legals.
How these rappers that have their legals, it's insane, bro.
Yeah.
Like 1-4, half of them have legals.
Half of them couldn't even go to fucking.
For that tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't even leave the
couldn't-
country to tour.
They
Like,
couldn't go to Melbourne.
Like
go
what?
to
Like,
UK.
do you reckon they're getting paid like 1-4 and that? Do you reckon they're getting money off
Alright.
their catalogs?
So 1-4 would be getting money.
They would be getting money right now,
because,
right?
Yeah,
And
in the sense of like the streams are
non-stop. Yeah, right.
Fuck,
through the
yeah.
roof.
But how much money are we talking?
Alright, so every
Would you
I would
estimate?
say let's say every stream is 4 cents, 5 cents. Let's say every stream is 5 cents, 4 cents.
And when it comes to a big fucking group like that, how does it go?
Yeah,
Does the individual split go to them directly, or do they all get it at once?
they
Or
all get it, they all like if you're a group, which is the one thing I always thought was a mad disadvantage to them. They need to organize who is in their group and who isn't.
Right.
Before can't start telling like so. For me, all I see is Spenny. I see Spenny JMs, Sally. What's that the cunt's name?
like YP and that?
Yeah, YP. So it's like I say this.
And
for me,
Male.
I didn't know this. Nah, YP. Male's not fucking. He's not in the group doing that shit. He's like the enforcer.
Yeah, but you always see him everywhere, cuz. You always see him in photos and shit.
Yeah, well, sort of have the same sort of fucking system like that then.
Hmm.
But they get the whole like they don't get the whole this is for you, Spenny, this is for you. No,
Right.
They get this whole fucking lump sum like this,
And they split it.
but they got to split it.
Oh, okay.
And I always thought that was trash.
But then
Yeah.
also they gotta pay their fucking managers
All
as
that
well. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
gotta-
yeah. So that
I don't trust guys, by the way. I
Huh?
don't trust that guy.
Mm.
Who's that? How?
Their manager. I don't trust him. I feel like he's capitalizing on violence that he never grew up in. And he doesn't understand us. He doesn't understand us. He grew up in. Their manager grew up in like. Someone told me this about him that knows him. And they said that he grew up in like, he didn't grow up like us, and that he managed them. And I just thought that was really like opportunity. Like it was a good opportunity for him to just exploit.
And ride the wave, and then
Yeah.
when it dies down,
When
might
they get
reach
hurt,
onto something.
When they get hurt, if not like God forbid they get hurt, but if they get hurt, he's not gonna he will say these words and say these words.
He'll have to
forever.
move on.
But he has to move on. And like just for me, it's how quick are you gonna move on? I think like that.
So 1-4 will be getting all these. Like,
Royalties.
would you think it's a large amount? Like,
Yeah,
would you think
bro.
it's a decent amount? Eh?
Man, I
Like thousands? You think?
It's on
Man.
YouTube. It's on YouTube.
tens.
Seriously?
Listen, man, I dropped one song. I dropped the song I was supposed to do with TK Meza.
Right.
The song came out without her, and it was promoted on Triple J. It was getting pushed.
Yeah.
Just that one song that was like my first song that had been pushed. I got like 500 altogether. I got like $750 for that. That was my first song.
Yeah.
For me, it's just like that was a lot. For me, like it was just I was 18 years old and $750 from a song that I made. I thought that was cool. For them, oof, man.
Fuck, now
fuck.
imagine Kid
I,
Laroi
don't
there.
get,
And that's
I
what-
never got those sort of views.
And that's
Never.
what I'm thinking. Like, you got this career going and it's going well, and you get money off it. I understand you're still in the street. You know what I mean? You're still living that life. Okay, whatever. Like, if you're getting money off it, if this is making money for you,
Why?
why would you go out and like? I don't know what they're locked up for. I don't know who's locked up.
But don't jeopardize that shit.
Yeah, bro. Why would you jeopardize that? I mean, that just seems stupid, bro.
Yeah, fair play.
Because like, I mean, we get it, bro.
See,
Like,
no,
well, look, we get it.
Yeah.
You're staunch. We understand. Like, you've done things. We get it. You've been in the street.
It's not
Okay.
now.
You don't have to prove it to us anymore. You know what I mean? What we want to see you do is prosper.
Bro. And also, they're gonna be making a lot of money from the fucking touring. Like,
Oh,
they're touring
yeah,
around
bro.
Australia, bro.
Well,
They're
I
gonna
mean, isn't that's what he was saying in that advice, James? He was saying touring is where
That's-
the money's at.
yeah,
That's where you
that's-
want to be. So,
That's what a lot of dudes
but is
make
it just
money.
Brisbane they're going to?
Maybe.
Yeah, just Brisbane.
Just Brisbane.
Just Brisbane.
Well, that's not
Pretty
much of
sure.
a tour, is it? Just a
Wait,
show.
Wait. Say that again. Just
Let me do my
Brisbane.
thing, let me do
Yeah,
my
Why
thing.
would they do
let's
that?
bring it up, bro. Let's.
Let's debunk this. If I was from fucking Mount George or if I was from HP or Hampton Park, and I had like beefs from different cunts in the area, and I was a Hampton boy and I had beef with different cunts in the area, and I had to go on tour, I wouldn't. Yeah, I
Yeah, just Brisbane.
It's just Brisbane, huh?
Yeah.
Whose show is it? Is it HB Boy show or is it?
It's 1-4.
Ah,
I think they can't do shows. I think 1-4 can't do shows in Sydney.
In Sydney?
Yeah, they get shut down all the time.
Yeah, because that's it. Because it's always fear that like
they couldn't
rivals are
perform
gonna try and
for-
like
Yeah, exactly.
start some shit.
Exactly.
They couldn't perform for Octavian.
you know, because these cops aren't stupid, bro. Like apparently they've actually made a task force to crack down on this specific problem. Like they've literally made up a task force to tackle the gang youth problem in Sydney.
It all makes sense.
And obviously, bro,
I can see it. I'm
like-
pretty sure they can fucking see it.
yeah, exactly. Like, bro, these blokes are out to fucking stop this kind of shit. And they have eyes, they have the internet, they're not dumb. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised if they're not allowed to perform in Sydney because the cops won't let
You
them.
know what I'm curious about, bro? Is like, what the fuck are HB Boys gonna do? They only have 2 songs, so like,
I thought that as well because
1-4's gonna carry them.
like, bro, like what? They're gonna like perform and then like, if they're the opening
alright
act-
guys, we're on to our next song, Engineers, and then after that was like, alright guys, we just got a little pre-mix here for you, a little 2000s mix.
We've got a little refreshments on the side.
Yeah.
You can help yourself.
Have a good
We're
time.
in half an hour.
Have a good time, see you later.
bro.
We're HB Boys.
No, not even that, bro. It's like, alright, we're gonna perform Blueprint again. Third time.
We're gonna perform it again, but I want a big mosh pit. When I say big mosh pit, I'm repeating it again.
I thought about that as well because when Blueprint came out, there was videos of them performing it on stage, and that's what I thought. I thought, okay, well, what's happening after that?
I was hungry even more.
Is that it?
So I'm released freestyles or yeah, man.
Fucking hell, man. This cunt.
But
To be honest, 1-4, like they be making big moves, you know, Spotify and everything. But I feel like they're in the head start.
They got a head start.
They got a massive head start. Like they're doing big things, like rolling loud curse on them. You know what I mean?
But
they're rare. They're like fucking in front, bro.
They are.
But I was,
wild.
I was like talking to these guys before, and I was kind of mentioning that I kind of low key feel like if dudes wanted to, like, if Brisbane wanted to make a name for themselves, like, now would be the perfect time, like, for shit to pop off.
I agree.
Because, like, you listen to how we talk, like, we're always talking about, like, Sydney and, like, Melbourne are kind of pushing this forward, but we're always saying, like, Brisbane's, like, quiet.
Yeah.
So if they, like, these, like, 4 or 5, like, if these dudes want to prove, like, they were real, like, in their songs where they're, like, saying, fuck the South, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, I know a couple boys try to, like, staunch 1-4 and HB Boys to kind of show, like, oh, yeah, like, the North, like, this is what we're fucking about.
Personally, I understand what you're saying. I think I have the answer to that as well. I feel like in Brisbane, when I was living there, I just felt like the whole place was just so calm. You know, in Sydney, you wake up in the morning. If you go to work or you go to school,
It's a
you
rush.
wake up. It's a rush all the time. Bro, just fucking yesterday, the trains full fucked up and they fucked everyone's day up.
Even today, bro, like we were waiting for the bus. We couldn't even get on the bus because it was so packed.
That makes sense then.
Yeah.
So like, I think in Melbourne, the same thing. I think it's fucking fucking rush hour all the time. And I think here in Sydney, it's fucking rush hour all the fucking time from 9 to 6:30.
Yeah, Brisbane's
In
like that.
Brisbane, when I was living there, bro, it was just really kicked back, bro. I can get anywhere. Like it was just really slow.
Yeah.
I just found myself trying to kill time and like.
Yeah,
I guess it's your friends and shit as well, but just in the mood of things, it didn't feel really.
I felt the same, bro. Like I was there. I used to go visit there every now and then, but yeah,
100%,
It's
bro,
real
like-
slow and real.
But that's the thing, like, I don't mind Brisbane, it's a lovely place, like, it's good for a holiday, but I couldn't
Shit
live there.
water, but shit water.
Yeah, bro.
I don't know. That's dirty ass water. I don't know what the fuck
Did
you're
you
doing.
taste the difference?
Huh?
Could you taste the difference?
No. I mean, like, you know,
Swimming,
like the wharf and shit. Like, you know, when you're
Dirty
at the
water?
Brisbane
I
wharf.
don't know.
Dirty ass water, bro. I don't know what they're doing.
But
But-
I got crocodiles and shit.
But nah, like, yeah.
But nah,
Yeah, bro. It was,
I
I don't know
They
what
made
it
some
was.
shit.
bro, I couldn't live there, man.
And
It's
I don't
too
know-
slow pace.
And I wonder if Brisbane people experience the same thing in reverse over here, where over here it's like super fast paced and they're like, what the, you know what I mean?
100%. I think
I wonder how they.
they can't keep up, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think they can keep
It
up.
is very slow, and I thought being in Brisbane, being in the central heart of Queensland, it'd be like Sydney a little bit in terms of like that,
It's still slow.
you know, because you really don't like when you're in Sydney, you don't really think. You don't think of like the whole morning
No,
rush.
yeah.
You don't think about it. But then when you go to Brisbane and that,
You
you're
know
just
how
thinking,
slow it is compared to
thinking,
Sydney.
fuck, bro. Like I got all this time, bro.
Bro, so our trains, right? Our train system is their bus line. They use buses the way we use trains. So like, And the buses are like, I don't know, it's really hard to
They got a weird train map too, man.
Yeah,
That train map
that
is
shit,
that
bro.
train map is fucking complicated. It's, what's it called? They call it Queensland Rail or something. And I remember looking at the city map and I'm thinking, I don't even know where the fuck I am.
Bro,
Where the fuck am I going?
what about train station culture, bro?
Bro, first of all, for what happened yesterday, I blame the fucking Liberal government. If you voted for them,
Yeah,
that's what
bro,
you get.
They, bro, like listen, man. This is what I think, man. Half the country is losing a lot of money. Not to like get off topic here and go politics and shit. But like our country is losing a lot of money off the open cut system. A lot of money off the open cut system.
Yeah, for real.
Like, ridiculous amounts. I've jumped on buses where like bus drivers just letting them on just for free. Like it's not working. They just and I'm just like, bro, that trip there, like the countless trips that you just let him just walk on, is costing this country money. The way you run a business, you need every cent to count, and then like these workers aren't counting those cents, which is ultimately fucking,
There's a ton being lost.
100%.
Yeah. Well, what about train culture?
Bro, so like whatever train culture is, I can only speak for Bankstown.
Or like hanging around the train
Yeah,
station.
bro, Bankstown train Bankstown train
Oh, this is gonna be a rich one.
So sorry. Some fucking train station.
Yeah. It's not the same anymore, but Bankstown train station, like station culture for me was you hang out with the boys, you just kick it there with the boys, and if you smoked weed or whatever you did, you're always trying to be with the boys
You're always trying to like separate yourself from it so that you can just, but you got to separate, like, you're trying to get the boys that you just want to set.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're, how old are you?
14.
So you're still generally a youth.
Mm.
I mean, I assume you don't hang around train stations and shit like that.
No.
But like the whole after school culture, because for us the thing was we would finish school, the whole of the school would go down to where the buses were at. We'd hop on those buses, and on those buses you would catch up with your mate, talk shit. All the groups would come together and we'd all be conversating. You'd hit the station wherever you were at, and you'd all just kick it. And then from there you'd figure out whether you were going home, whether you were going to a program, you're training, you're smoking, whatever the fuck you're doing, and you would eventually just kick it and then break off.
Yeah, in Bankstown it's still like that when I go there.
I think it's the same.
But like how because when we were there, like nearly every cunt was doing that.
It's not even funny.
Or
Every single time you went there when we were at school, and maybe a year or two after we left, it was flooded with even punch while boys were coming over.
Yeah,
and LaSalle would come down and all that. Like, it was the
Bankstown station culture was hectic, bro.
It was big ones.
Maybe it was like the way it was set because it was mad hectic,
But now it's
it was bus stop and then train station. You walk out, boys here, kick it there.
But now it's like red all day. Like cops are always just patrolling it.
After Noodle passed, the cop police presence in the area was just heavy. We didn't like session as much. We just didn't hang out as much, but we still did. It's just after 2016, I think Bankstown station culture just really
died off.
Yeah,
it was the beginning of the end. It was when things really started to quieten down.
And for me, I always felt like we had a thing called Youth of the Streets that had like an outreach.
That's still popping now.
The youth center?
Yeah, the youth center. They had like a barbecue at the park every Tuesday and Thursday. And it was just...
And it was like in the centre of Bankstown. Like it was like out in the open.
Yeah.
Bro, you
out
want
in
to
the
know a
open
funny
park
story
in the middle of it.
about that? I don't know, like there was a youth worker that worked at the youth center that we had. Like you remember... So when we were living in the city in Millers Point, we had a youth center that all the kids would hang out with. And we had a youth worker that was originally from Bankstown, and she worked at like the youth center there, and she came to the city because I think maybe for more pay. And bro, she like from what she described, like I think she bit off more than she could chew because like all the kids in like our area were all fucking junkies and high on like drugs and shit. And like I think she saw how like poorly like the kids treated the youth workers, and like she just went right back to Bankstown because she was like. For the sense of community and shit, because like she goes like, because she goes like when she was describing it to us, and we asked her like, oh, what was it like back in Mexico? She goes, oh yeah, like everyone was cool with each other, like there was a sense of like community, everyone got along. And when we had our youth center, everyone was just like getting like, I don't know.
No, it's true, man. It's true. Like Bankstown always had a certain ruggedness to it. But let's just say that Lobos and Phobes got along. That was like almost not like
Very good chemistry.
It was almost unheard of sometimes. We could like walk like I was, you know what I mean?
I feel for me, like, you know, when I was growing up, bro, and when I was in Bankstown and that, you heard a lot about other areas, Mount Druitt, Granville, Auburn, and all these crews and all these names and that. But Bankstown, for me, always felt like its own world. But maybe it was because it felt like home. I don't know, maybe. But I always went to Bankstown and I always felt like it was its own area.
I'm thinking
Even like the boys that were there, the boys that were proper staunch Bankstown boys, were like,
yeah, bro. I understand what you're saying.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, bro.
I'm thinking straight, bro. At a certain time, at that time, no other area could fuck with us. Like, just no other area could fuck around. I just felt like it just. We were so united, bro. We were just so united. I just felt
like, for me, like the way that I saw it, a lot of the older boys that you see now, a lot of them are in jail. Some are dead. Some lost their minds. Some actually made a life. You know, and kids and shit. Some of them actually pulled up and made it, but some are still doing what they're doing. But back in the day, bro, like when we were all younger, and they were all young, they were all together, and they were all still crazy and young, right? And then, but there was a lot of them that were beefing with each other. Like, bro, there were so many internal beefs, bro. Like,
I agree.
you'd have areas that were next door to each other that were beefing with each other. You'd have Mount Druitt and Granville beefing. You know what I mean? You'd have Liverpool, and, you know, at one point we beefed with them. Fuck, bro, there was a lot of beefs, but I think as time went on,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It became a bit more, what's the word for it?
Exclusive.
Yeah, you know, so to speak.
Bankstown, I don't know. I know Punchbowl Station culture as well. Punchbowl Station culture is buy a pack of cigarettes and go smoke
Bro, so many people hung out on those steps. Like,
you know,
king of the pack is.
I look at the young Labour boys, how they hang around the station.
Yeah,
for me, it's just like a dead split of how old people, how the old Muslim boys will like kick in, have a coffee and that, and they just sit around the table. For them, it's the same. Like, they're just young boys.
Bro, that tobacco store is fucking iconic, bro.
That is
bro,
king of the pack, bro.
Behind
that, and bro,
everyone kicks it.
Right on the corner. Is George's Chicken still there?
Yeah,
bro. See, those are like the two fucking iconic things, and probably Young on Pizza and Alawafi.
Yeah, Alawafi, bro. Alawafi, shout out to the
bro.
And then Jana came in and fucking just stole all the customers.
Bro. But that's the thing I love about Alawafi. They don't fucking. It's not like in the city where they skimp out on the chicken sole. Like they fucking douse that shit. Bro, that's what I miss. And when I go and they give and I ask for chips, and they just fucking douse. I'm like, yes, this is how chips are supposed to be,
bro. Because Arabs are trying to feed you, bro. Arabs are really trying to feed you. Guys, you know what? You know what's a funny fucking thing, bro? Like how Arabs talk, just Arab dialect is funny as. Like they talk English, bro, but the way they talk and the way they address things is hilarious. One time I was eating at Ojana, and I'm sitting at the table with my ex. We're just talking. We're eating and shit. And there's like these two area cunts on the table next to us, and they're like, you know, Gucci'd up, fucking Rolex or whatever. They look rich as fuck. They had their food. And then we finish our food, and then they finish their food and they leave. As they leave, I look over and fuck me dead, bro. It's like they had like 2 bites of their chicken, 2 chips. Like it just looked like they made anything. And I was like, fuck, man. And it was messy. I was like, fuck, man. You didn't eat your food. And the bloke comes in, picks up the food, and he's looking at us like, fuck me dead, bro. He looks at me in L, and he's like, these blokes don't know how to fucking eat, bro. That's what he said. That's it. These blokes don't know how to fucking eat. And I was like. That's such a fucking Arab thing to say. Like, they look at your head, like, guys, look at your fucking head, bro. Like, it's funny, the way Arabs, like, just say shit like that. Look at your fucking head, guys, I love your head, wallah.
Nah, man, that's fucking... Bro, that fucking tobacco shop has been there since, like, I was a fucking kid, bro.
It's done.
It's still fucking killing it. Like, I think you can, like, also buy taro from there.
Sam doesn't work there anymore.
That dude doesn't work there anymore. Fuck, bro. That old man was like...
Yeah, bro. Him and his son moved. They sold it.
They sold it.
Sam.
Bro, that old man was like fucking cool. Bro.
Yeah,
he was the man.
Bro, they sold like cans of fucking Coke for $1. Like, where else can you get that from?
Cans of like cedar and
LA Ice.
LA Ice.
It was all for fucking $1, bro. It was just like... Bro. See, people don't understand how expensive that is.
Oh, God. Yo, let's get into our top 3s.
Alright, bro.
I think I'll just clear up I had to clear up before because last week I was talking shit saying, I've rated my top 3, but for some reason, one reason or another, I left out. You know who I rate, bro? I really rate Rick, bro.
Rick?
From that HK and Rick song.
I wasn't. He didn't have bad verse.
No, not the first guy. Not the first guy.
guy?
The second dude with the hoodie and the mask. I thought he was fucking cold, bro.
I'll check him out.
Yeah, I thought he was cold. You haven't seen it. You haven't checked it
I
out yet.
seen.
Oh, yeah.
But like to rewatch it.
Just
yeah.
the. Oh, bro, it's fucking deadly. Bro.
I'll check it out.
Bro, yeah, my number one, I'm gonna put Elijah Yo and Soccer, man. Like, bro, I thought that track was like,
It was pretty good, man.
I thought it was really good.
Right.
And then, what am I gonna put at my number 2? I'm gonna put, I think it's Seru the Menace.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, like that new track, like the
Yeah.
fucking like instrumentals and like the bars, I thought were really good.
Yeah.
And then that number 3, you know what? It was a slow news week, so I'm gonna give it to Tigwala.
Tigwala.
Bro, but I just gotta say criticism, bro. Like, I don't know. I feel like your bars at some point, like, were pretty average. Like a kid could come up with them.
Straight corn curbs.
But I think there's potential there, and I would like to see like more, like what you do.
Tigwala.
And I need to know what Nash this guy is. Because like me and my sister were looking at him like, bro, is it like Middle Eastern? Is it like Indian? Like, what is this guy?
Good guess. I reckon he's Turkish.
Alright.
I reckon he's Egyptian.
No, I reckon he's Turkish. Were you? Yeah, Tuck.
First, fuck. I'll start with third. Probably about Husky there. Since came out, he'll probably drop some fucking heat. Second, probably Spenny. Spenny, he's just a funny kind of. Yeah, if you can make me laugh, fucking oath. First, probably Hef's fucking that off guard freestyle.
Yeah, you've been talking about that freestyle a lot.
Cause it's just fucking heavy, bro.
Yeah.
Straight out.
No,
It makes me want to go fucking burn a car and rob a metro. You know?
Look, off the bat, I'm gonna say from 3 to 1, I'll go. Fuck, I just had him too, bro. I'm gonna go Rick. I'm gonna go Nerve, and then I think I'll go with. I just had him in my head. Oh, that's right. In Elijah Yo, bro. Fuck, he's been doing well.
Elijah Yo.
He's had a good run.
Yeah.
He's having a really good run. Like, and yeah.
He's back. He's back.
You know what I mean? And I'm still puzzled as to why he hasn't gotten more exposure than he has.
Yeah, definitely. My number 3, I'm gonna put Elijah Yo at number 3, because I know he's coming up. He'll make it up the ranks, up my ranks personally, like next week probably. But Elijah Yo number 3, number 2 is Chillinit, just because that fucking fight in the booth was insane and he really put on for Australia. I really feel like he did, because he didn't go in there trying to fucking pretend and use like their slang. He used our slang, and I fuck with that a lot. I fuck that he went there and he used our slang, and he knew that none of them were gonna understand it, but he did it anyway. And then number 1 is Husky. I put Husky number 1 because I just know that he's the best rapper in Australia. I just know it. That's my number 1.
Alright, so I guess this is us signing off. This was episode 3 of the Sesh. Yeah, peace. 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 Peace.